Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me again. I'm your host, Derek Lane. Another episode of the Fast Lane, your podcast for success. Appreciate you joining me this week. Let's delve into your self-concept, who you are, or at least your perceived concept of who you are. So many people have such a ingrained vision of themselves, and it's hard to change. You know, we talk about changing and propelling ourselves weekly. We talk about moving forward. Ideas, situations, they're all a part of that change process. And again, there's certain aspects of our life we don't want to change. It's working for us. We want to tweak and adjust the parts that need tweaking and adjusting. So what do I mean by that? Well, you've got people in your life that drag you down, and everybody knows that. And maybe it's not intentional. Most times I don't think it is. But it's the society as a whole that is conditioned daily by negative news, negative articles, negative social media input, output. It's all there because we thrive off stimulation, the shock value of things. So it's hard to shock somebody with something that is good, but it's easier to shock somebody with something that's tragic. So that's why it's there, and that's why we pay attention to it. So moving forward, and as we progress, we still hang on to old habits, and that is an unhealthy way to progress toward the path of success that we're on. Old habits, old ways of thinking, the old ways of doing things, and you may not even realize it because it's so ingrained and it's such a habit. That's why we have to be aware of everything that we do. In your waking day, you need to be aware of what you do, what you say it, how you do it, the looks on your face. I mean, it all makes a difference. If you wear a smile, people can tell it even over the telephone. It's in your voice. It's on your face, the smile, it's in your attitude. That's just one way. The ingrained thinking is some of that self-talk that says, well, I can't, I don't know how, I must, but I can't, but I must. Own up to your thinking, and when you get those doubts, okay, I'm not comfortable with this, but I bet I can achieve it. I bet I can better myself with the outcome. And if you just go incrementally to meet your challenges of your everyday life, little by little by little, you can change those things. That's what I'm talking about, adjusting and tweaking. You have to train your brain to accept new ideas. You have to train your brain to allow yourself to propel forward, little by little. I don't think the brain is going to let you just click a switch and become, boom, I'm just a different attitudinal person. If you can make that happen, let me know. But it's little by little by little. So many people have great ideas, but don't know what to do with them. Don't know how to follow up. They fall back into the rut of life. These people are what I call people with permanent potential. Permanently, potentially, but never quite getting there. And it's a mind trap. But it's one that if you're aware of and you're conscious of, you can sidestep that trap. Because you've been conditioned all your life up to this point. Where you're at right now is a result of your lifetime conditioning. Whatever your influences is, whoever your influencers are, they all make a difference. That's why I've always suggested to read, learn a little bit more about the people that fascinate you. Learn about people in your area, your community, people that you can talk to. It's always a positive thing when you expand your mind. When you expand your mind, your vocabulary, your thoughts, your wisdom, it just helps you succeed, and it helps you succeed faster. Allow the things that are positive into your life and realize when the negative things are setting in. So how do we do this? Again, some of the methods I've talked about, reading books and bios, articles, and realize when you're being bombarded. If you're on a social media site and someone wants to start talking about, the politics and things, and you start feeling your temperature, your anger getting up, and, you're like, that's a stupid, let it go. You're not going to win that fight, so what are you doing getting angry about it? It's someone on the internet. Have your political beliefs, that's fine. But the old saying, don't talk about politics, religion, or sex. That is so true. People are so ingrained and staunched into their beliefs, there's not a one setting that you're going to change someone's mind, okay? Because you don't need to be the savior for everyone. You need to be the ambassador to yourself. Help as many people as you can positively. But that doesn't mean you get into an argument about, what political affiliation someone should belong to. It just doesn't matter at this point. What matters is that you understand you, and you understand where you want to go and what you want to achieve. And when you're working on that, and you see yourself little bit garnering more and more and more, then you know it's working. Don't fall back into the trap, into years of that negative conditioning. So many people are there. And it's all around you. 1%. They talk about 1%ers. Well, I'm talking about it in a positive way. 1% maybe 1%. Get it. They understand that the negative out there is there to bring you down. Think about crabs in a barrel. I don't know how many people understand that crabs in a barrel scenario, but up in the New England fishing coast there, the fishermen will go out and they'll fish for crabs, and a net full of crabs, and they bring them back and they put them in this big barrel. And there's no lid on this barrel. They just throw them in a barrel. So wouldn't they eventually crawl out of the barrel and go back to where they came from? No, they don't. Because once a crab gets close enough to the top, other crabs will reach up and pull them down. You have to be aware of the crabs in the barrel. Once you get toward the top, they'll go, look at that guy. We can't let that happen. Grab your leg, pull you back down. No, buddy. Come back down here with the rest of us crabs. You're not going to make it. And that's so true. That is true. You can look that up, crabs in a barrel. So let that be a metaphor for your life, to understand human nature, to understand how not to be. And when you see somebody about to make it, instead of pulling them down, you go ahead and give them a shove up. Because all of your good deeds will eventually come back to benefit you. All of the things you do right in life will come back to benefit you. Just like all the bad deeds will come back to haunt you. So don't be that negative person. Okay, so how is it that we can keep living our life and advancing ourselves? At what point do we say, we've got enough? you will never have enough. Not as long as you draw a breath of air. And I don't mean that in the terms of greed. I mean that in terms of richness for your life. Because once you realize that you have financial stability and you've got freedom, remember we talked about freedom, our ultimate goal. Once you have a certain amount of freedom and financial stability, the next goal is to assist others, to train, to show, to help, to guide, counsel, tutor. These are the things that we should be doing. These are the things, well, really, you don't even have to reach your financial and status goals to do that. You can do that along the way. But my point is that the more that you're looking for something, in your life that you want to enhance, the more that you're going to realize that it's enhancing other people. Continue your journey, continue your travels, and understand that we have conditioning to overcome. We have to rewire some of our thinking. We have to be cognizant of our thinking. We have to be aware of the words that we choose in our mind when we talk to ourselves. Remember, you talk to yourself in your mind 3 to 4 times as much that you can actually speak. So in your mind, you're saying a lot more than you are orally. So make sure that you choose those words correctly. And with that, know that the mind does not accept negatives. There's like a filter there, can't, don't, won't, things of that nature. The brain doesn't register those. It only registers the can, the will, the have, the I do, those things. And again, it's like, when you give a child a command, don't spill that drink, their brain hears, spill that drink. And then you get mad when they spill the drink, not understanding that you basically told them to do it. And then they don't understand why you got mad, because they didn't hear don't. They hear spill the drink. So that's why I'm talking about reconditioning your language, reconditioning and tweaking the way that we speak, the way that we communicate. So if you have a child with a drink, you would say, be careful with that drink. That drink can easily spill. Be very careful with it. Okay? So you do that in your everyday life, not just with your children, but the people that you meet. Just remember, don'ts, can'ts, won't, those things. Don't even phrase things. Don't even phrase things in a negative manner. Don't run out in front of that car. Hey, the traffic is heavy. Be very careful. When you're out in public, think about the things that you say and why things get miscommunicated as often as they do. It's because of the style of language we use. And we don't realize that those filters are in play. But they are. Well, anyway, so we kind of recap this. Learn to accept that we can all be programmed a little differently for more positive outcomes and successes. We can tweak the ideas. We can understand some of the things that hold us back if we listen and watch. Pen and paper, always. Man, I almost forgot that this episode. Pen and paper. Be aware of the negatives and the negative peoples around you. And share this podcast with folks that will get a benefit from it. And I appreciate your listenership. And we will have another discussion next week, and we'll go from there. All of the outlets, Google Play, Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, iHeart, they're all out there. So if somebody asks where can I hear it, you can hear it on just